doctor. Look, I can't just introduce myself to the man and then suddenly say, look, Eddie, if you don't mind, I wish you'd stay away from your daughter.
But if you could point out how really sick she is, you see if it comes from you, it has some strength.
Ada, look. Unsolicited medical advice is bad enough. Unsolicited personal advice is at best dangerous.
Look, Rita's your patient. If somebody bugs her, that's your problem, right?
Right?
Well, then, for medical reasons, Eddie's got to be kept away from her. That's all there is to it.
Sure, that's all there is to it.
Now, listen, Doctor. I've heard about court orders.
Look, there's no legal way for us to keep him away from her if he wants to see her.
Well, there should be. You don't know Eddie Jacks. He's no good. He's rotten.
Look, Ada...
No, you look. If anybody thinks that I'm going to sit still while he weasels his way into Rita's life, they've got another think coming.
I know how you feel, and I don't blame you, but still, we have to do what's right for her.
That's right. So you've got to fix it so he can't get near her. Otherwise, all those fancy pills and your talk about making her take it easy and not get excited, all that isn't going to mean one thing.
Ada, don't you understand your personal feelings about the man? You were married to him. All right, the marriage was a bad one. He was a rough character. You reject him now that he's back. I don't blame you for that. But Rita has never had the chance to know the man.
Well, whose fault is that?
Fault? Hey, don't you understand? People can change. Even Eddie Jacks can change. Rita has to be curious about him after all this time. And if he wants to see her, I mean, shouldn't she have the same rights you have? Shouldn't she have the right to reject him if she wants to? After all, you know, he is her father.
Don't talk to me about rights. A man has to earn the right to be called a father. And that means that he provides for his family. He doesn't mortgage them up to their eyeballs so he can play the horses.
Look,
that
Ada.
means that he's around when his kid needs him. If it's to comfort her in a thunderstorm or maybe to sit up with her nights when she's sick and she calls for him. Maybe it's even to help her with her homework. Or maybe it's just to give her a hug once in a while to let her know that he's there and that he cares. As far as I'm concerned, Eddie Jacks gave up his right to be called her father the day he walked out on her.
Ada. I've got to talk to you.
To me? Here?
I left my office in the middle of the day trying to track you down.
I didn't know little old me was so important.
I had a visit from Eddie Jacks.
How is he?
Are you trying to tell me he didn't drop in on you?
All right, he dropped in on me. A few bad jokes, a plea for understanding, and then he was gone.
He'll hurt Rita, you know.
I know.
It'll be too much emotion for her. Ada, you've got to send him on his way.
You think he just moved back in with me? Is that what you think?
I didn't know.
What do you take me for? You think I've had a light burning in the window for the past 20 years? Praying he'd walk in out of the fog some night, back into my life? I despise him.
All right, fine. Now, what did he tell you?
He wants Rita.
What else?
Your deep concern about your daughter-in-law brings tears to my eyes. What else? Nothing else.
Ada, that guy's so devious he can't even walk a straight line.
Who are we talking about now?
Forget the sarcasm. We don't have time for it. We've got to compare notes. The things he tells you, the things he tells me, we've got to smoke them out. Find out what he's up to.
Eddie on one side of me, you on the other. I'm being squeezed and I don't like it. One bit.
reminds me of Puerto Vallarta.
Philip and I used to go vacationing there. I'd ride on the beach with a young man. We'd race. Whoever lost had to buy the drinks.
You'll have trouble finding beach boys this far north. Is that your pattern, Mrs. Van Lyden?
What pattern?
A rich old man for security?
And a young one for companionship. Why do you enjoy thinking the worst of me?
Why are you marrying my grandfather?
Just as you said. Security.
Your first husband? The man whose death left you so broken-hearted?
Philip is gone. I have to be practical.
You say that as if starving were the only alternative.
I don't know how to be poor. And I have no intention of learning.
I can see that. Well, that ring must have set my grandfather back a pretty sum.
I didn't ask.
Why not? I thought you were going to be practical. You must have imposed certain conditions on my grandfather before you agreed to marry him, like a healthy hunk of his estate. What's the going price these days on the bride market?
It was an honest bargain. He'll get good value for his money.
How can you stand to have him touch you? The very thought of you standing before a minister, solemnly taking that sick, decrepit old man in marriage. You call it practical. There's another word for it. The only difference is in the price. Why did you come here?
From the continuing story of Peyton Place.
I parked above the dunes and watched.
Met, did you say? Mrs. Van Lyden met a man?
You're acting so familiar.
What exactly did you see?
Where were you when Mom and I needed you? Oh, we don't want you anymore. I've never had a father, and I don't want one.
Be honest, Tim.
All right. I have to see you.